Hi, welcome to another video for the series. Last video we did some implementing of secure protocols. This video we're going to talk about securing an environment using mitigating techniques in addition to piggybacking off of the last video. So you can actually apply several mitigation techniques to your network. So however, mitigation techniques should be applied based on the type of infrastructure that you have. So for example, if you don't have any critical data that you're handing out or flowing through the network, you don't require data loss prevention, right? So on the other hand, your organization, if it's handling financial data, you definitely want to implement DLP to prevent any kind of like mishandling of that data. So you also have, as far as any other techniques, mitigating or mitigation, or you like to say it, MDM, mobile device management. You can BYOD, choose your own, things of that nature, right? You can do some containment with any IR process. That containment is actually critical, right? So depending on the nature of the incident, well, you'll have to select appropriate containment strategies, which will help you deal with the incident, right? Also segmentation, right? So it can be done as a proactive or reactive approach. And then the proactive approach, actually the network is divided into different segments. So each segment just communicates to other segments through a firewall, right? But you can also do some isolation. We kind of touched on this in the last video, right? It works in a slightly different way, the segmentation. So even though it uses segmentation to limit the attacker's ability to, let's see, making sure these don't want to work, making sure the attackers, to limit the attacker's ability to proceed any further, right? You just have to use stronger measures to limit the attack, right? Once the measure could be isolating the affected systems or isolating the attacker themselves. So you can also have isolate the affected systems, which is a segment which contains the compromised systems, right? That's completely disconnected from the rest. But nonetheless, that's a few mitigation techniques. If you want to add another, I'm not sure, Callie is the only one that wants to come to work today, I guess. But there's also SOAR instruments, right? So SOAR, which is secure orchestration automation and response, right? So it's always challenges, right? And managing them. And as far as countering security threats, you always want to be able to make sure that you're able to do what you can do, not only with the tools and the techniques I mentioned, but also to have a playbook, right? Incident response playbook, so you know exactly what to do to begin eradicating, to remediate, to recover, and all of those wonderful things to you know, to be able to make sure everything is running back properly if you unfortunately run into an attacker. Looks like these servers don't want to work today. Let's get that fixed here. All right, so I made sure that the servers did not call out of work today, so they're up and running, right? So now we can, now that we've mentioned mitigation techniques, let's talk about software restriction policies, right? As an extension of that. So it's just a somewhat what it sounds like. It's a policy-driven mechanism, right, that provides administrators the ability to identify and control the applications that could run on a Windows computer. So the policies actually protect Windows clients from the Windows XP and later versions from security threat like viruses and Trojan host programs, right? So right now we're actually going to create a software restriction policy. Now the whitelisting method is used only when allowing for a specific application or a set of applications, right? So the blacklist also, after the whitelist, is used for blocking the application or a set of applications from running. So, so now what we're going to do is create just a simple batch file. Just little click here, and then create SRPs. There it is. To first prevent, then allow the batch file to run. You can actually click here, and then take a look. And I did a similar exercise before. Let's hit apply here. All right, perfect. So now we can do local. And then let's see, actually, you know what, we can do it here. There I go, not spelling again. All right, perfect. So actually, click here. Then text document. Let's see, yeah, I do remember doing something like this before in another There we go. It's gonna change. Not unusable, it's just not usable for what you expect us to use it for, I guess. Let's do some editing. All right. So echo. This is a test dispatch file. Right. Pause it out. Perfect. All right, so now I'm just going to close this. Actually, close that as well. So now what we're going to do is just put it the policy. All right, put this up here. All right, so come on. I know you didn't want to come to work today, but listen, we got stuff to do, all right? I think, uh, right, and here. Perfect. So, uh, actually, let me just create a new path rule. It's looking kind of weird. So, um, disallowed. Yeah, that's fine. All right. So now we created the path rule for the test app for the folder we just created for the local drive, right? So I'm actually going to minimize this and then reopen the Explorer. So open for us, it might be like 5 times it may open. Like, yeah, kind of clicking it. All right, perfect. So let's go back to where we were. Test app. Open. That's fine. This behavior is expected because the software restriction policy that I mentioned is going to block the batch file for first file path. But that's all right. So now we're just going to test the software restriction policy by copying it to another location. We've definitely done this before. So actually, let's just go out here, paste, and then we're going to try to open it. Continue. All right, and now let's try to open. It's going to open. Now it runs because the software restriction policy is based on the file path, right? Which means if I have to go inside the test app and then open this, then it's not usable. But it's not. It's not. Its only scope is on that path, not necessarily the actual file. So I just terminated it. So now I'm just going to minimize this and then go back to here, right? So let's actually delete this. And perfect. So we can actually do a new hash rule. All right, then browse. Here. There it is. There it is. It's open. All right, perfect. Disallowed. So we're good. Let's hit apply. Hit OK. So now we have a new hash rule. Perfect. Disallowed. So we're good here. Actually, let me close this out. So it's going to open this back up. Perfect. Actually, I'll keep it there. So let's open it. All right. So it's going to be, yeah, my bad. It's going to be open, closed regardless, but now we focus on the file. So yeah, so now it doesn't matter where it's going to be, no matter where I copy and paste to, it's just not going to open because the restriction policy that we set for it in a hash that we, hash rule that we created. So we can actually talk a little bit about firewalls as well, as far as any creating the environment to mitigate any, any unwarranted, not unwarranted, but unauthorized access to our network, right? So it can be configured locally. We've talked about this in other videos ad nauseum, right? As far as a few exercises, in fact, that we've done through them. It can be configured through a group policy, right? Essentially managed from a domain controller. So the firewall can be managed locally. So what we're going to do is just create or configure rather a basic firewall rule. So it's available, it's available in all variants of Windows. So we can actually use, actually going to use DC, right? And then, let's see. There we go. All right, perfect. Wait a minute. All right, so we're good. All right, so let's take a look at the inbound rules. All right, and let's actually create a new one. Like I said, we would. All right, port. So let's take a look at 3. TCP is good with me. Now, TCP port, before I continue, let me go back. TCP port 1433 is actually used by SQL, or Standard Query Language, right, for incoming connections. In this exercise, we're going to actually open this port to illustrate how to just create an inbound connection on a specific port, just to give that particular tidbit, right? So allow the connection if it is secure, we want to customize this, right? So now we're going to require the connections to be encrypted, right? And then we want to allow the creator to negotiate the encryption. So that's good. That's good. Let's see, authorized users, right? Oh, see here. Actually, let's see. Go back. Right, of course, want to check name. Perfect. So now we can actually, let's see. Okay, we're good there. All right. And authorized computers actually, no. Okay, we're good there. And also by specifying a user, the user will be able to connect to the computer using port 1433 also. So actually, let me see, we have ports already. Make sure that good. Check. Right. Okay. And also by just going to deselect these, right? So by only selecting the domain profile, the rule is going to apply to computers connected to the domain. So the computers will be able to connect through this port with the specified user and the computer that's protecting the port. So we're good there. So, uh, right, finish. All right, so now the new rule has been created. Now various other inbound rules can be created, right, using this method. So that depends on which port, right, or services need to be made available on the network or the server. So now what we're going to do is just block the ICMP version 4 traffic. So it's going to be blocked to prevent a non-authorized user scanning, right, and footprinting on the network. So we're blocking this traffic and also prevent a DOS attack. So we're just going to just pretty much block that to DCO1, which is what we're on now. So let's actually bring this back up. Now let's make sure that, let's see the proper rules. There it is. My God, enabled. Yeah, we got it. So let's take a look at the file of print. Sharing. Yeah, so we're good. We're good here. All right, perfect. So we want to block the connection. Apply. We hit OK. All right. Perfect. So let's connect to Ali. Right. Could have been anywhere. All right. Perfect. All right. So we're pinging the data. And of course, gonna say that it's unable to communicate in just a second. I was going to continuously do this until I tell it to stop. So And there's nothing to do with the lab or anything. It's just, yeah, it just won't be able to ping. So yeah, I should just stop it. Pretty much not to receive. Pretty much all of the packet loss. So now we're going to do is just configure logging for some firewall traffic. So the traffic that moves across the firewall obviously can't be logged, right? So log file is going to be used to view specific traffic and possibly identify unsolicited traffic on the network, like with these. This is here. So the IPsec is just going to specify how computers authenticate with each other on the network. So it's going to configure some logging, right? So let's actually swivel over here. And we got the inbound rules here. All right, so let's see. Click here. Actually, no, here. All right, domain. That's gonna. All right, perfect. Wow. All right, so we're good there. Actually, you know what? I believe we should do it for, yeah, do it for all. Okay, so we're good here. All right, perfect. So we've done it for private, public, and also the domain. So, let's see. All right, so let's actually head over here. We're actually going to try it again. All right. Still nothing. Now, while it's pinging, let's actually swivel back over here. All right. So let's actually hit OK. Then let's take a look at the monitoring. Let's take a look at this file. This is file. So now this wall is open. So I'm just going to scroll to the bottom here. All right. So take a look at the log file. Right. It's just going to be saying that packets from Cali have been rejected, and the IP can also be saying file here. All right, perfect. So now that we've done that, we've actually reached the end of this video as far as securing an environment using mitigation techniques. Just for a brief recap of what we've done, we went over software restriction policies, different type of techniques, as far as MDM and a few other options as far as securing the environment, right? Went over mobile device management, containment, segmentation, isolation, a little bit of DLP and some store talk, right? And we configured some firewall rules, and we blocked some ICMP version 4 traffic, while also configuring logging the firewall traffic as well. So our next video, we're going to be doing that on cybersecurity backup and restore strategies. I'll see you there.